Talk to me like that. Talk to me like that. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Like I said, I'm about to go. I'm about to go. No, she's sorry. She's sorry. You are sorry. He different than me. I ain't the same as him. He different than me.
Greetings and what up, though? It's your boy, Jason Jamerson, and welcome to the Jason Jamerson podcast. With me, as always, my man 100 grand, my cousin, Kev BJ. What's going on, Kev?
What up, though, cuz? How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm wearing that same hoodie I was wearing in that video. I don't look sweet no more. You can't get caught wearing the same outfit twice.
It looked like you just came from the video. That's all.
Right. I just came from running away from a fight. That's exactly what it looked like. He different than me. Man, Kev, man, what's going on? How was I know you had a good weekend.
Hey, man, I had a great and green weekend. You know what I'm saying? My Spartan dogs held it out, did what they had to do. Undefeated out here. Beat the Michigan Wolverines this past weekend. It was a great game. Great environment. The first tailgate and kind of me being back to campus in a while as well. So got to see a lot of people I mess with and rock with. Got the fellowship with a lot of people. And then, you know, since the pandemic, just being able to have a little bit more normalcy has been positive affirmation for me, for sure, as those are like staple periods of my life, for sure. And we got to pull it out. So shout out to the Spartan Dogs. Shout out to East Lansing. And we got 4 more to go to continue doing this thing. And I expect us to be into some type of bowl game or championship or something because we've been doing our thing.
Yeah, I honestly, after watching that game and seeing that boy Kenneth Walker, the third, that boy is a problem. And like me personally, I had no dog in the fight. I didn't attend either school. I will say I have a little stronger attachment to U of M only because my daughter was born there. But
that is not a strong enough attachment. That is no.
My child was born there. What you mean?
If she was all right, fair enough.
That and my heart got broke at Michigan State. So okay. But
that's what you really was trying to say. You could have just led with that.
I mean, it's both. You know what I'm saying? My heart got broke first. Okay. But ultimately, like I said, I ain't go to either school. So in Henry Ford Community College don't got no football team, so I can't really cheer for them. So it's for me, especially since they were both undefeated. I wanted the team that won. I just want them to be able to represent in a high level bowl game or the championship playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Like ultimately, because I'm tired of not seeing schools from Michigan in those high level championships, and I do really feel like Harbaugh is overrated. He made the Wolverines very overrated, and I just realized that Michigan State had a black coach, so I'm automatically gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Mel Tucker is he got my vote. And I heard him talking before the game. Man. He fired me up a little bit. So we're gonna get him with body shots, body blows until the championship round, and then we're just gonna lay it on him. I was like, all right then.
Yeah, I love his energy, man. I love his energy. Yeah, shout out to Tuck.
Yeah, man. He cool, man. They undefeated, and another team in Michigan has not won a game yet. The Detroit Lions. I really want to see. I want to put a wager out there. I don't want to necessarily bet. I want to put a wager out there for anybody who's open to taking it. Are they going to go 0-17, or are they going to win a game? And if so, when? So anybody who's watching, DM me, and we can put a wager out there. I just want to see who thinks the Lions are going to win a game at some point. And if they go 0-17, I'll give you a free T-shirt. Because I really don't think they're gonna go 0-17. I don't feel like I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they'll win one, but they ain't gonna go on no win streak or nothing. But I don't think 0-17 gonna be
who's left on the schedule. They're about halfway through the season, correct?
Yes, and they're going into a bye week. Okay. They're going to play.
So it's a transition week. Things can change.
Things can that's in my opinion. If they're going to beat anybody, it's going to be the team they play out the bye week, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
The Steelers have not been looking too good this year. Bill Roethlisberger is playing like his age. But the problem the Lions have is they can't beat teams with good running backs. Like the running backs run straight through them. So they have the Steelers after the bye week. Then they have the Browns, the Bears. I'm automatically going to say they beat the Bears because I hate the Bears and I can't bring myself to say the Lions are going to lose to the Bears. And they actually have the Bears on Thanksgiving. Then they got the Vikings, the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Seahawks, and the Packers. So yeah, now that they've traded Von Miller, though, I think they may have a chance against the Broncos. But other than that, it's the Steelers, the Bears, and like if they get the most wins they getting from in my book is 3, and those are three games.
Now let me ask you this: is it beneficial for the Lions to win 3 games right now? I mean, just based on the trajectory that you're going and how they do for rankings, drafting for the next season, is it even beneficial to scrape out a game or 2 just for pride? I'm not sure.
I think so because there's only. I mean, a game, most definitely. Nobody wants to be the first team to go 0-17 because they didn't want to be the first team to go 0-16. But there's 2 other teams right now with 1 loss or 1 win. I'm sorry, and that's the Texans and the Dolphins. I'm sorry, 3 and the Jaguars. So there's 3 teams that have 1 win. So if they won 1 game, I think they would still end up getting the first round draft pick. And I also believe that they get some extra picks from the Rams because the Stafford trade. I think they got some picks based on how Stafford does. But yeah, I at most they got 3 from me. But I do think if they lose coming out this bye week, I think that's gonna kill a lot of morale in the locker room. Because they go get blown out by a team they shouldn't have got blown out by yesterday. Then have a week off. They work hard. They do whatever. Who knows? The trade deadline's tomorrow. Who knows? They trade for somebody or whatever. And then they come back and lose to the Steelers, who don't even look like the usual Steelers.
Yeah.
So that, but in true Lions fashion, they may mess around and win a lot of games that they're not supposed to win because that's just the best team in the league, in my opinion, right now is the Rams, and they came close to beating them. They came close to beating the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and then they get blown out by the Eagles. So it made little to no sense. But that's what I say about the Lions all the time. Can't bet on them, but never bet against them because they will do good enough to ruin your bet. You bet on them, they're gonna lose. You bet against them, they're gonna ruin your bet, man. They're gonna ruin your bet.
Yo, Jason, I wanted to ask you, how was your weekend? What'd you get into?
Oh man, it was my birthday weekend. It was dope. Saturday, it was supposed to be a surprise party, but apparently I got there before everybody else did, so it was a surprise. So the real surprise was the fact that it was the place I went to. So there's a place in Madison Heights that's called 168 Crab. And they do Korean style karaoke where you do karaoke inside of like a small room.
Like a room, yeah.
Yeah. And like you have your own microphone. They got it up on YouTube and whatnot for you to find the songs. And they serve crab boils. That was an odd combination to me. I'm like, I don't know what it is about crab that makes you start singing, but I'm like, hey, I'm with it. But yeah, I was told I was getting taken to a steakhouse, and I ended up going there. And I ain't gonna lie, when I first got there, I was like, this isn't a steakhouse. What is this? Because I had never heard of the place. So it's like I walk in, I'm like, this does not look like any kind of steakhouse I've been to. But yeah, it was fun. My family came. My brother John, he came dressed as one of his internet characters, Lester Lamone. Shout out to Lester Lamone.
We gotta have Lester on the show.
Oh, I'm gonna bring Lester on the show one of these days. He ended up singing. He stayed in character from the time he walked in the building to the time he left. He had the waitress like spray his hair with like Jerry curl juice and whatnot. It was funny. It was a good time. And then yesterday, my family came over and had cake and ice cream, and in true Jamerson fashion, they sang so long that my candles melted into the cake. So yeah, I didn't get to make a wish. I didn't get to blow them out. They just melted all the way. And I'm gonna play the video. I'm gonna show you the video one of these days. It was funny. It's funny. But yeah, that was my weekend. It was dope.
That's awesome. And hopefully the viewers of the Jason Experience know that all the Jamersons can sing. So I can believe everybody took their time to get their 2 minutes in, and the candles are just withering away.
Oh man, the funny thing is I have a joke about it, how like we purposely sing, either we sing bad or we just start adding verses to the birthday song just to keep it going. And I have a joke about it, and people don't believe me a lot of times, but now I got this video to prove it. So
okay.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool. But man, we got a lot of stuff to catch up on because we've been so guest heavy. We actually were supposed to have a guest today, but StreamYard decided it wanted to act funny and not send the invitations out properly. So we will have to bring them on at another time. Because I definitely put in the description that we were going to have the young lady on as a guest today. But we will definitely reschedule her, get her on here as soon as I figure out why StreamYard did not send the invitations out properly. But it's bittersweet because we can catch up on some things. There's been a lot of stuff going on since the last time it was just me and you on here kicking it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I want to start off with something funny. To me, it's funny. So last week you sent me the story about a lady, I believe it was in China, or was it in, where was it at? It was in
it was one of the Chinese provinces near Shanghai.
It was Zhejiang, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Okay.
And she went on a blind date, not just a regular date, but a blind date with a gentleman, and brought 23 of her family members and expected him to pay for all of them. And when he refused, he just walked out on the 23 family members, and the bill was $3,100, $3,100. Kev, if you went on a blind date or any date of that nature, and and the young lady showed up with 23 of her family members, are you even going to sit down and eat with them at that point?
I think I would have sat down and I would have rolled with the punches. Especially, if I wasn't being catfished in that way. Like she looked like how I thought she made her look. She seemed open. The family seemed warm and welcoming. I would have chopped it up, broke bread with everybody, and kept it moving. I felt like that could have been a fun experience. So I would have been open to doing that, at least, for sure. Absolutely.
That seems a little much for a blind date. That seems a little much. First of all, if it's a blind date, I've never met you before. So the first time I meet you, you bringing 20. You bringing 23 of your family members with you. This sounds like a robbery to me. Like this is a lick that you must have done before, because you don't do that if it's never worked before. Like who just says I'm gonna bring 23 of my family members and get him to pay for all of them? Yeah. I'm not sitting there and paying. The bill was $3,100, and apparently in the story it says that he asked them to pay for some of it. And her purpose for bringing 23 family members with her is because she wanted to test his generosity. There are much better ways to test somebody's generosity than on the first date, first time meeting this man. You bring 23 family members with you to see if he gonna pay for them all.
Now, my grandma always said, "Don't take my kindness for weakness." And it seems like in this situation, they were definitely testing the limits of the kindness and kind of where the weaknesses were. And but it also makes me think of 23, right? Like, did they roll up to 23? Did she start with 5, 10, 15? And it was like, all right, it works at 15. Will it work at 23? And kind of doing those things. It makes me wonder.
Either way, like this is multiple cars full of people that showed up.
Yeah.
Like, what, 23 people? That's multiple a lot cars. Of people. That's a lot of people. Like my family, with all the nieces, nephews, like it take a lot to get up to 23. And you say you're gonna do that on your first day. So here's the other question that goes with that though, because apparently on social media, obviously I haven't had to deal with this, thank the Lord. But on social media, it's been a thing or a question lately. What do you do if girl brings her friend with her to a date. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you paying for both of them? Especially if she says, if I come, you got, or if she brings her kids to the date or something like that. Is that something you would do?
Well, I go off of the situation where both people, worst case scenario, should expect to pay for themselves and kind of what they order in that, unless someone overtly is like, yo, I got you, I'm doing XYZ. Now, I do participate in chivalry. And so, I would be willing to, kind of compensate within that. But also, I try to control that and wouldn't invite to someone somewhere where I wouldn't be able to pay for 2 times what I'm doing. And I kind of have limits within there as well. And so, pretty selective within it. And so if someone brought another person, I would assume that we're all going individual. We're all going Dutch, if you will, and kind of doing it that way. And
Yeah.
we have a great time, get to know each other, and keep it moving.
Yeah, because if I'm paying for both of y'all, then we all a couple. You know what I'm saying? Like we a throuple at that point. Like I'm on a date with both of you. Because I'm you out your mind to think. I don't understand why you would think that's even like why. I get it for like if it's a blind date for like safety purposes, but not to sit at the table with me. Like because there's a lot of people out here who the women got to be safe. So I get it if you like, all right, come here, sit at the bar,
Absolutely.
keep your eye on me, something like that. But if I'm sitting at the table with you, with both of y'all, we all on a date. We are this is a group outing at this point. Like what's good? What's good?
And I do recognize the element of, hey, a friend is there. You kind of go out in a social setting with other people. You get more comfortable, get to know people. I do, like you said, the safety element of it. But also you get a good cosign. If the friend rocks with you, that could be a good way to kind of set yourself up for potential opportunities to get to know one another and stuff like that. So I'm with that. But I also do know, there is a culture where, hey, you're out and someone is inviting you out, and particularly in like a heterosexual relationship, and they bring a friend. Sometimes their friends do expect you to kind of pay up and kind of do those things. I have a different fiscal situation with my finances. I save money and do things different ways. And so that's not the way I go about doing things, right? Maybe a special occasion, we might figure something out, but that's not the way I rock. And so I probably wouldn't be successful in a situation or a relationship with anyone who is expecting those things, because that wouldn't be fitting for how I roll.
Yeah, that's the elaborate way of saying you cheap. But I'm in a fiscal situation. I'm in a fiscal situation. But ultimately that's a no for me, dog. I would never, because here's the other thing. If it was on the flip side, if you flipped it around and you decided I'm gonna bring my friend to this date, how do you think that female would feel or a woman would feel at that point?
Especially if your feeling is like me or any of your cousins, brothers and sisters who like to eat. It's gonna be a situation for real. Like,
exactly.
I wasn't expecting you to order that much.
Exactly. So it's like if a woman brings her friend, it's like, oh, you got to pay for her. But now she was like, I just want to be here with you. I want to get to know you. Which, I mean, ultimately, like I said, it's if I'm on a date with somebody, especially a blind date, if it's the first date, this is me getting to know you. I don't even want to know your family yet, because I don't know if I want to know your family at any point in life. Like and maybe it's because of how close I am to the rest of my family. If I introduce you to my family, you in there. You know what I'm saying? Like we tight. Like that's any kind of relationship. My friends, whatever, comedian friends I know, whatever. If I invite you to my home or invite you to an outing where it's going to be all my family, we close. And so I definitely would not invite my family to come on the first date, let alone 23 of them.
Yeah. And you know what? I got a lot of respect. It sounds like he rocked with it. I would have rocked with it as well. It sounds like he asked as well, like, hey, can y'all help chip into this? Like, him being willing to do that maybe means that he enjoyed the family, enjoyed the date and the time. And maybe it was the breaking moment situation where they weren't even willing to kind of do those things. And I'm all about buying drinks for people and kind of doing things like that. But when the expectation is there and it's not, really being communicated and it's not a fair expectation, that's where I think it goes awry.
Yeah, that's where what got me, because like you said, he seemed like he rocked with it until he asked like y'all chip in, and it was like no, and then her intention from the get-go was let me see how generous he is, his level of generosity. So it's like you jump. She went straight for the gusto out the gate.
$135 a person, basically. And so that
and he probably only had water. Like he probably had ordered water and the fried pickles. That's it. That's it. So, but yeah. So in the same vein of relationships, I got to talk about this because everybody was talking about it all last week. Jada Pinkett has been in the news again. Apparently, according to headlines, she's been embarrassing Will Smith once more because the headline, according to the headline, she said that it is hard to maintain a sex life with Will Smith at this moment. That's according to the headline. Or at this point in their marriage. That's according to the headline. But a lot of people who I see who are talking about it have not actually watched the entire interview or that whole Red Table Talk. And when I tell you, when I watched it, I was sitting there waiting for. I watched the whole thing. I'm like, maybe they edited it out because she said nothing that even sounded like that. Like they completely misconstrued what she said to say that she like that. That's what she said because the actual topic that they were talking about was the topic of marriage, and she also had her guest Gwyneth Paltrow and her mom on there, and they were talking about how they were considered newlyweds because Gwyneth Paltrow's been married, I believe she said 3 years. Her mom was married 5 years, and Jada Pinkett decided she was going to chip in. She's like, yeah, I don't want to say this an exact quote. She brought up how she was married for 26 years, and when they sounded so amazed by it, she was like, yeah, it's been hard. It's hard. It's a journey. Those were her words. They took those words and just magnified the entire situation. And it brought me to the point to where I'm thinking, like, if it had not been for August Alsina coming out and saying that, saying what he like, it just revealing that there was an entanglement going on. A lot of things that she said over the last few months or over the last year would not be villainized. I actually feel like people would be applauding her for her transparency and feeling like what she's saying is insightful. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, like you, I definitely saw the clickbait and I succumbed to it. And I typically don't really go into that, but I'll definitely say that I do see value in kind of the conversations that Jada, her daughter, her mother kind of have on that show. And so definitely for me, I learned something from a different perspective, point of view, especially as a male. So I clicked it and I was thinking I was going to hear and get something as well. And I was like, oh, this was nothing but a boosting headline. They were just trying to get you to click through, get some advertising dollars and kind of work through. And so you kind of alluded to this, but they're very transparent on that platform, and I really appreciate that. And so I think it's unfortunate the way they kind of like the media, kind of people making the headlines, made it something that it's not. And so I really encourage them to continue speaking their truths and kind of doing that because it allows a lot of other people to normalize kind of things that are actually happening. Relationships are hard in general, whether you marry your cousins, your brothers and sisters, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? And so all they're doing is like shedding, all that was a microcosm of that. And so I think it was unfair for kind of people in the media to take that out of scope.
Yeah, because people definitely took that and just ran with it. Because she said a lot of other things that, a lot of men been saying this for a long time now, but she said other things in the interview saying how, she said, we expect the person we're with to be able to read our minds. She's speaking from a woman's perspective and like what they want. And it's like, oh, if you love me, then you should be able to do this. And, she said a bunch of stuff, but people, just because of her perception in the media right now, because of, once again, that August Alsina situation, which I will say in that particular situation, I would give her some fault for that because of the whole situation. Like he came to them, Will and Jada, with some mental issues going on. They brought him in. They were going to help him out. And then, Will and Jada started going awry for a little while. And then he asked Will for the blessing, and it could be perceived as if she took advantage of a younger man who was having going through a mental breakdown. And I mean, it's Jada Pinkett, so if she throw it at him, he's not gonna be like, no, Jada Pinkett, I don't want it. So I guess the biggest issue is the fact that one, Will Smith is one of America's sweethearts. He can't do no wrong. You can't do no wrong by him. But two, the fact that, and he said this in an recent interview with GQ, that she was not the only one who had intermarital affairs. She just is the only one who couldn't keep her dude's mouth shut. That's all. So I'm really interested to seeing in his, he has a memoir coming out. I believe it's at the end of this month or later or next month. He has a book coming out, and he said he's going to get very transparent. He's tired of just, sitting back and just being the Will Smith everybody knows. And he's going to air out some laundry. So very interested to see what he says in there to see, if he name drops or, talks about certain situations.
Yeah. Speaking of Will Smith, I was kind of reading, having conversations about Will Smith's, like, how he kind of boomed and kind of came up. And one of the things that came up was, he had a really clean reputation as a rapper, pretty clean comparatively or relatively, but really didn't curse either. Maybe we'll say like, damn, things like that. But, those are generally acceptable terms and stuff like that. And so, like, really figuring out the balance. Yeah. Figuring out the balance, you kind of corner yourself into a clean area in some ways where people perceive you a certain way, especially mass, international, and stuff like that. And then still trying to live and be your truth, which is, no one's life is clean in that way. I was super curious to that, but I was thinking about you. It was like, you're not necessarily a clean cowboy, but people call you that. And, you have to balance the realization of your life. And, like, have you ever looked at Will Smith or other people in that way? And, like, kind of how do you kind of balance those considerations or those obstacles that may come?
You know what? I've never looked at other people in that way and thought that, but it's definitely something I thought of, because it's like, I'm for the most part just generally, my lifestyle is a clean lifestyle. I'm not like at this point in life, at least, because I did live a life before this, but at this point, like, I don't party, I don't drink like that. I'll have a drink here and there. I don't, I never was in the strip clubs. I never was, like, if I party, it was regular party, go to the club, go back to the crib. Like, that's just me. I really don't cuss. I may throw an N-word out here and there just because it's just natural for me. I'm not saying it's right, but it's natural. But like, it's from a young age, me and a friend of mine, it's about to sound super nerdy, but me and a friend of mine, Will Bosley, we would go into at school, we would get the dictionary and we would just randomly flip the page, just stop it, point at a random word and say, we got to use that word in a sentence before the day is over with. And it has to make sense. We can't force it. So doing that, I realized, I'm like, dude, there's so many words in the dictionary I could be using. Like, why would I just limit myself to these cuss words? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking nobody who does, because that's how you talk. That's how you are. But, me personally, I get it. It does kind of naturally come out because you hear it more often than other words. But I always try to pride myself on having a more extensive vocabulary. So yeah, but then like I'll go out to like an open mic or something like that, and they'll be like, everybody's over there drinking. Like, oh, Jason, what you want? We about to take a shot. Jason, what you want? Some water? Because we know you don't drink, do you? And it's like, I mean, I don't, but I do. Like, because if I do, liquor just don't taste good to me. So if I'm drinking, I'm drinking to get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to feel a certain kind of way as fast as possible. So I'm not here for the pretty drinks. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it as strong as possible. I'm not here to take the scenic route. Put me on the expressway to Buzztown. But yeah, I do think about that a lot, because it's because I am considered a clean comedian and a family man, all that good stuff. As soon as something comes out, like people will definitely, like, in this generation, they like pride themselves on magnifying people's faults and whatnot. So you know what I'm saying? Like, even this is my podcast. I'll be transparent. On occasion, I'll have a cigar here and there. I've never smoked weed or cigarettes or anything, but on occasion, I'll have a cigar here and there. The second somebody sees me with a cigar in my hand, everybody goes, "Oh, Jason smoke. Oh, ain't you this guy? Ain't you gonna do that?" I'm just like, it's here. It's not something I just do just because I like. It's literally maybe 2-3 a year. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's super special occasion type thing. But people will once again magnify it and make it seem like, oh, Jason's a smoker. He smoke all the time. Like, I can't even they don't even have that option when I fill out my paperwork at the doctor. Like, do you smoke 1 or 2 times a year? Like, I can't even say that. It don't it counts, but it doesn't. But yeah, no, I 100%. I kind of anticipate people trying to find some like my faults or something like that and trying to magnify them. Unfortunately, I have to anticipate it because that's just the world we live in right now. But yeah, it's definitely something I think about.
Okay. Appreciate that. So there's a story I wanted to bring up too. So I know you were a homeschool primarily, then you went to high school. Excuse me. I don't know how rough your high school was or kind of like what was going on within there. But I know my high school, hey, first day in, it was going down in there. And so just really interesting dynamics. But recently at a high school in Louisiana, I think it's Southwood High School in like Shreveport, Louisiana. It was going down in there, and some parents had enough of it, particularly some fathers of the high school students went in high school. So I think about 23 fathers kind of started up a coalition of dads.
Correction.
Okay.
40.
Oh,
yes.
It's at 40 now.
It's at 40 now.
Okay.
Dad stepping up.
Okay. I appreciate and respect that. Yeah. So, 40 dads are now call themselves like dads on duty, really patrolling the hallways, getting people together, checking in and kind of just building rapport, not only with their, with their students or their children or whatever, but, people around there who may not have a parent who can be there, may not have a parent or guardian around and stuff like that. And so I think it was like a super cool story to hear because I think oftentimes we just hear about the fight and the outcome of the fight and all those type of things, but not necessarily about the boots on the ground or people who care and are trying to mitigate those things and really make a positive influence within there. So I wonder so it sounds like you heard that story. What are your reactions? And do you see yourself being in Dads on Duty one day?
I love it. Honestly, I 100% love it. It just is that reinforcement that even I love it for multiple reasons. One is it just proves how important a father figure is in children's lives these days. Even though, there's sometimes people will try to like no knock against single mothers at all. They doing their thing, but like a lot of times they try to be mother and father, and it's like be the mother that he needs. Somebody else can be a father if they find a father figure, because there's certain things that just don't come off the same way that a man is supposed to teach another young man. You know what I'm saying? Like from a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and then just from a discipline standpoint, like your mama could say stuff all day, and then as soon as your dad said it once, it's like, yeah, it's game over. It's like that base will shut you up real quick. But no, from that standpoint of having that influence, that father figure, but then also just the fact that it takes a village, and that's been the case from the get-go. It takes a village. Like all of these dads decided that they were going to come together, and they're not just policing their own children. They're not just correcting their own children. The other fathers feel comfortable enough to allow another man to come in, and if their child is doing something wrong, they can correct them from, another man can correct them. You know what I'm saying? And as a father, that's kind of a difficult to sit there. Like if somebody was telling my daughter what to shoot, I heard my brother, my daughter was running down the stairs. She was wrong. She was running down the stairs. She ain't supposed to be running. But I heard my brother yell at her. I almost was like, "Hey, fam, who you talking to? You talking to my kid like that?" But like, because don't nobody want nobody to like say nothing bad about to your child or anything like that, even though it wasn't bad. But it takes a lot for you to relinquish that kind of authority over your child to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to them down there, because they doing something special.
Yeah, no, definitely shout out to them. I will say, you said no offense to single mothers, and I think most single mothers will take exact offense to what you just said. Because
Really?
yeah, because from that point of view, man, most of them are they're single for a reason. Most of the time, I would say it's not by choice. It's from lack of resources, lack of commitment, lack of energy and effort from other people, not necessarily them. And they're going above and beyond their means to kind of do those things. And maybe they don't have the acumen and to kind of show and do things. And so what they can do is set you up to be able to have the fundamentals to kind of do those things. Now, I don't disagree that having figures and role models of other statures and genders are going to be beneficial for you to know how to navigate in the world, because there's a different point of view that you may have to be able to navigate those things. But I think that being able to set you up for success and do those things and going above and beyond, I think they would definitely take that. And so I would say they're striving as hard as they can in most cases to do so.
Well, which is why I said no offense. I'm not saying anything about like how they are setting up for success in the world or whatever, but there's certain principles that man can teach another man to be able to.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I didn't necessarily say, they need a father in their life. I said father figure, which can come from, that can be a teacher, that can be a coach, that can be a, the big brother, big sister programs or whatever. Like if that's still around, I'm not sure. I haven't heard about it in a while.
That's still around.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to, get a father figure or a more mature male figure. Cause it can also be like literally just somebody who's older than you, a college student, or you in middle school, he in high school, but he a mature high schooler, and he's able to help you. He got his head on straight, so he's teaching you to keep your head on straight. There's different. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that they, because I know that there's a lot of
both ways too.
Most definitely. But I definitely 100% feel like, this coming from a father, not a man standpoint, but from a father standpoint, that there are certain things, just even with my daughter, there's certain things that my wife can teach her that I can't teach her. And there's certain things that I can teach her that she can get from me that she can't get from her. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having that just at least the figure in the life, is going to be, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And a knowledgeable figure. I think that's important, because this happens anybody, anybody.
Yeah, not anybody, but like, because I mean, I ain't talking about, I'm with you. Like, yeah, we need Big Meats to be my father figure, and now they out here trying to sell drugs out of a limousine place. But I don't know if they got to that episode yet, but I know the real story. But
wait, is that a BMF show reference?
Yeah, well, there's a BMF reference.
Okay, I haven't watched. Have you watched that?
I watched one episode. I watched the first episode. It's very hard for me to sit down and actually watch something straight through because I got so much stuff going on. But I watched the first episode. I actually like it. It's not. I hear a lot of people. It is on Stars, which I'm getting free right now. The pandemic then got me free Stars. I said, look at COVID.
Okay. Slide me them credentials, brother.
Yeah. But like, you said, a knowledgeable father figure, like somebody who is actually, like going to keep their head on straight. You know what I'm saying? Because it can go both ways. Like, the flip side of that, like I said, they gotta have somebody who's trying to teach them how to be in these streets.
Yeah.
But even the ones who trying to be in the streets is like ultimately the real ones, at least, like these rah-rahers out here in the street, they ain't the ones that have rules and principles. They just go out here and that's a totally different discussion. But I do believe, and this is just me personally, I do believe that there are certain things that a young man can only gather from speaking to a more knowledgeable or being around a more knowledgeable, more upstanding, more respected man. You know what I'm saying? That they cannot get from, no matter how much they try. There's a lot of things that a woman just can't, a mother can't do or teach that a father can, and vice versa.
Mhm.
Vice versa. There's a lot of things that fathers can't teach that mothers can. So
Yeah.
that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. So I know you just rolled off your birthday. Every year, kind of rolling off your birthday is kind of like a good triggering to know that, hey, holiday season's coming.
Yeah.
Have you started on your Christmas, your holiday gifts, and all those type of plans? If so, hopefully, Gizmo's not watching. What's kind of on the list for things like that? That's like hot ticket items for you.
So I have not, and that is because so Gizmo decided she was going to get they sent like the Amazon book or whatever that
Okay.
has like it used to be like I used to get the Toys R Us book. You just look through it. Oh, I want that, circle it. It's in the Amazon book, and I looked through it to see what she wanted, and literally everything in that book was circled. I'm like, yeah, this ain't happening. You're gonna have to get a different color and circle the real stuff.
Yeah.
But she seems to really just want like, more stuff for her baby dolls and, a few different video games. So I have not started yet. Mainly because like besides her, like nobody else has really articulated what they wanted. And I'm just at that point where I'm like, y'all better say something or ain't nothing gonna get got. So, until somebody say something, it's probably gonna be a card with maybe some money in it or something like that, which I'm sure they appreciate that also.
And so I asked that because FedEx, UPS, USPS, and other carriers are citing we're going to have a lot of delivery shortages, whether it's coming from Amazon, Target, Walmart, any digital e-commerce retailer, your favorite Black-owned brands and minority-owned brands. Things are going to come on time. So I would strongly encourage you and our viewers to order now or order early as quick as you can because people will wake up disappointed on whatever
Christmas.
key holiday milestones, depending on whatever you celebrate, whatever your dimensions of difference and intersectionality are. You might not have what you need for that time period.
Yeah, they're gonna wake up with an IOU under the Christmas tree. Because he ain't gonna wake up to a note that say "coming soon," a gift. But yeah, no, I really don't like the delivery process. Like me personally, and what's frustrating to me is that nobody has articulated what they want because I personally take pride in and then the pandemic kind of messed me up too because I haven't been able to be around people. I like buying people gifts, and I like getting them gifts that they may or may not have known that they were about to get, like something that they may have said in passing. I was like, okay, got you, and then I get it for them. They be like, oh man, like I'm that guy. Like one of my dad's favorite gifts that he's ever gotten on Christmas is something I got him. It was very simple. I got him the DVD of Pootie Tang. Because he just loved that movie so much. I just decided I was going to buy him the DVD, and he watched that movie to death. And so, like I like giving the thoughtful gifts, the gifts that people, but I haven't been around people to be able to hear, to listen to see what they really want. And then also nobody's articulated anything to me. So I'm like, you know what? Never mind then. Forget your gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either getting that. That's why I just like, I either get the kids something or I just get a gift for the family, like something that they all can enjoy.
A good game or something like that. Yo, speaking of which, my cousin Dorian, whom you know, started a game. It's a very family game, music oriented, music centric. Over the season, we should definitely have him on. Play the game with him. Is a lot of singing involved. If you'd like. So
hey, well,
we might as well invite the Jamersons on and kind of have a whole little situation.
Hey man, listen, we can do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm very competitive, so if we playing this game, I'm playing to win.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm playing to win. I will guarantee that. I had to Denzel you on that one. I will guarantee that. I guarantee you this. I will win this game. We'll win it.
Okay.
Yeah, shoot, we got to hook that up. We got to bring him on in. We got to bring that man on here. So, yeah, man. Yeah. I also so over the weekend, well, over the course of my birthday. A lot of people don't know this about me. And this is another reason why I say, oh, people, when my business come out, people going to look at me a certain way, but like I never, I don't want to pull a Michael Jordan and say I never claimed to be a role model, but I got a tattoo over the last week, right? I actually have multiple tattoos already, so if you guys don't know, now you do. But I got one in the most inconvenient spot that it sounded cool when I got it, and it looked cool, but it was a terrible idea in hindsight because of like the aftercare of what you're supposed to do for a tattoo. I got it directly on my spine. It's going straight down my spine, right? So I don't know. Do you have any tattoos, Kev?
I don't.
You don't. All right. So boom. When you get a tattoo, I'm gonna teach you something real quick. When you get a tattoo, you have to wash it daily with sensitive soap for sensitive skin. So my tattoo artist, Lady L, shout out to Lady L. She told me to use Dove sensitive skin soap, and then you also have to keep it moisturized with either something that's odorless. So like I use shea butter, because I'm woke like that. That's very difficult to do when you can barely reach your spine in certain spots. So I'm over here looking like a fool trying to reach like all the way back here. It's like literally from like right here, like the bottom of my neck, all the way down to my tailbone. Okay. So there's only so much I can touch. I can reach. I look like a complete idiot. But yeah, it's very, and like when it starts healing, it starts itching a little bit. So now I was like, but you can't scratch it because
Sound like you need to work on your mobility, brother.
Man, listen, I don't care how good, unless you're a contortionist or you double jointed, you're not touching your entire spine. But can you rub shea butter in? Like, can you rub lotion in the entire time?
I feel like
the entire spine. Like there's about like this much that I can't reach.
Okay.
Like I got the top here, boom. I got the bottom, boom. But then it's like somewhere in between my shoulder blades. It's like this much space that I can't reach. And it's just weird to just have that one dry spot of back. Just that dry and ashy piece of back in between the lubricate part. But it's interesting. Speaking of working on mobility though, this is a shameless plug. I don't know if anybody on here is in the Metro Detroit area, but I did start a fitness class. It actually starts tomorrow, but I still got spots. It's called the Better Body Boot Camp. It is at a private location. Well, not private location. It's at a gym, but it's a personal training gym. So we try not to have too many people in there, especially with the COVID protocol and whatnot. So if you are interested, go ahead and DM me, and we can get you together. We can get you in there. I try not to plug my personal training stuff in there, but I would be remiss if I didn't, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about how a lot of people always wait till the first to start something. And naturally, because of where I'm at, I'm in fitness. Naturally, that's what everybody says. Oh, I'm gonna start next month on the first. I'm gonna start. And I find that to be a little bothersome sometimes when it's people who really need to be starting immediately, which is really everybody. That mentality to wait until I'm ready. Well, waiting until you're ready is one thing, but waiting for everything to line up perfectly is very rarely going to happen. Like, there's no such thing, and this is just in my opinion and my experience. There's no such thing as a perfect time to start. You won't realize it was the perfect time until after you actually started, and then other stuff start happening to be like, oh snap, I'm glad I started now. You know what I'm saying? But I was sitting there thinking, I was just like, there's a lot of people, like I'll talk to them and I'll do a consultation with them, and it'll be like the 10th or something like that. So okay, I'm gonna start next month, and some of them are physically and physically they are being told, like from the doctors or whatnot, like you need to start working out now or whatever the case may be. They'll tell me they have like high blood pressure or they're on the borderline of diabetes or something like that. And it was like, all right, I'm gonna wait till the first to start. And I completely understand the whole mental aspect, mentally preparing yourself to start. But in some situations, you can wait till the first, but diabetes ain't gonna wait till the first, and high blood pressure ain't gonna wait till the first, and high cholesterol ain't gonna wait till the first, and them bad knees ain't gonna wait till the first. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes you just got to start, even if you're not ready, if you don't want to, because once again, in my experience, I've seen people or I've even worked with people where they waited until after the fact to like they wait till after the doctor told them already. It was like, oh yeah, there's something going on. Once that happens, it's already too late.
Yeah.
So and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more in a later date. Kev, go ahead and let people know what you got going on.
Man, I'm just trying to stay out here and keep my head up. Just trying to help those in need. If you are a small business, you need some consulting help, just some business plan assistance, hit me and my team up at thecomeupcg.com. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram at Hercules Jackson, or on Twitter at _KevB_.
thecomeupcg.com. Yeah, and you know me right here. If you're watching on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, it's all right here. That's how you find me. I don't really got much coming up because I started this class and I said I got to see how my schedule about to look and how I'm gonna feel. So until next time, y'all have a great day and a blessed night. Peace out. Ending broadcast.